ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो ओम विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांता स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So here we find conclusion by Mother Devahuti. She is concluding her prayers. And Prabhupada is saying, essentially, she being very humble, feels her inability to glorify the Supreme Lord being in the body of a woman. So, she is concluding, Tam tvam aham brahma param pumamsam. My dear Lord, I understand that you are that same Param Brahma, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Pumamsam, personality. So, Param Brahma is not some unmanifest reality or someone who does not have a personality. He is a personality of Godhead, Pumamsam. And then she is explaining that actually the great sages, they realize the Supreme Personality of Godhead after being qualified. How they are qualified? Pratyakshrodasi Atmani Samvibhavyam. These great saints and sages, they control their senses and mind. They withdraw their mind and senses from external different kinds of distractions. So they withdraw their mind and senses from sense objects and they keep their mind and senses inside and meditate on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Atmani means through the mind. Samvibhavyam, they meditate on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But then she also explains that that is not enough. It is not that they can be realized because they have controlled their senses, they have withdrawn their senses inside, and thus they will automatically realize you. No. Swatejasa, it is only by your mercy. Finally, seeing their endeavor, when you become merciful, it is very much possible. So what happens when the Supreme Lord becomes merciful? Swatejasa, dhvasta guna pravaham. The effect, the influence of three modes of material nature is destroyed. And then one can realize the Supreme Personality of Godhead as He is. Vande Vishnum Kapilam. So that Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, who has now appeared as my son in the name of Kapila, Veda Garbham, and who is the repository of all the Vedic knowledge. When this material world is dissolved, all the Vedic knowledge rests with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And once again, when the creation happens, the Supreme Personality of Godhead once again gives this knowledge through Parampara system. So, this is very important realization of Mother Devahuti. So actually, it is very important. If she is saying that the Supreme Lord can be realized only by such great personalities, Pratyak, those who have practiced withdrawing their senses from all kinds of external engagements. So we understand this is a process of Ashtanga Yoga. So Prabhupada is explaining here in the purport. Prabhupada says, the word Pratyak is significant. In yogic practice, the 8 divisions are Yama, Niyama, Asana. So they follow controlling their senses first, Yama, and then different kinds of rules and regulations, Niyama, and then some kind of bodily postures, Asana, and then they control the life air through Pranayama. Then they withdraw their senses. That is called Pratyahara. When one does not utilize his senses on external sense objects, when one does not utilize his mind for anything external but pulls it inside, internal, that is called Pratyahara. Then Dharana, concentration, Dhyana, and then finally Samadhi. So, Pratyahara means to wind up the activities of the senses. So now, question may be, where did Devahuti practice Pratyahara like that, Ashtanga Yoga? She is a woman. Where did she practice all these things? Isn't it? Pratyahara is a part of Ashtanga Yoga. We don't find Devahuti practicing Ashtanga Yoga. So, it is very important to understand that actually the process of devotional service is far superior than Ashtanga Yoga. Because what is achieved by long practice of Ashtanga Yoga can be very swiftly achieved by practicing devotional service. It's like I was reading in one of the prayers to the Lord, where the devotees are praying that, my dear Lord, even though Mother Ganges is very purifying, but Mother Ganges can purify a person after long time, wherein a person every day he takes bath, and after that also definitely his all kinds of bodily infections and other things are purified immediately. But his mind, his senses can be purified after a long contact, whereas devotional service is so great, just by coming in contact with the pure devotee of the Lord, the mind and senses can be purified. So, the potency of devotional service is highlighted here by Mother's Devahuti's realization. This is very important. She is very humble. There is no doubt about it. Great devotee of the Lord is always very humble. Always feels inability to realize the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, we find the same thing. Even Mother Kunti also prays. Tatha Paramahamsanam Muninam Amalatmanam. And then she says, Katham Pashyemahi Striyaha. You are realized by great Paramahamsas, great Munis, those who have become completely purified. How can a woman like me, Katham Pashyema, actually how can I see you? How can I understand you? So, it is a nature of a devotee that he is very humble by nature, and he expresses his inability that what prayers can I offer you, my dear Lord? Let me cut short my prayers because I am just an insignificant woman, and kindly be satisfied with whatever prayers I have offered. But the point here to understand is that actually she has realized, and that realization is what she is expressing at the end of her prayer. She has realized that Kapila, my son, is not just my son. He is Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu himself. He is Supreme Brahman, whom great sages and other saintly people realize after controlling their senses, withdrawing their senses from all external sense objects, and then internally they meditate on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then they realize. But Mother Devahuti has realized without all that means that devotional service is so great. And she says this actually in this final conclusion. She is expressing that also. Swatejasa. Simply controlling the senses is not enough. Simply endeavor is not enough. It is by your mercy. It is only by the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead that it is possible one can realize the Supreme Lord. You see. That is why in Bhagavad Gita also it is said, Bahunam Janmanam Ante. After many births, Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate. A person in real knowledge finally surrenders unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, understanding Vasudevam Sarvam Iti Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. Such a great soul is very rare. So factually, only when one becomes humble and renders devotional service to the Supreme Lord is when one can realize the Supreme Lord. So, devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Prabhupada explains, includes the process of pratyahara. One does not have to practice it separately. Withdrawing the senses from sense object and then internalizing the senses and meditating and using the senses only for Supreme Lord is already included in devotional service. Prabhupada says there is no scope for a devotee because all his senses, bhakti, process of bhakti itself means Rishikena Sevanam Bhakti Ruchyate. That is the meaning of devotional service. When one utilizes all his senses in the service of the master of senses. That itself is called devotional service. So two very important things which all devotees should understand. Grace of the Lord does not come sitting like this. Krishna did not make Arjuna to win the battle of Kurukshetra by asking him, Arjuna, you go and sit, smoke bidi, I will fight for you. Prabhupada says no. Krishna's grace does not come like that. One should not misunderstand. Bhakti means grace of the Lord and it will come by itself. Grace of the Lord will come when you do your part also. Isn't it? The Lord expects. Just like when the Lord is telling Arjuna, he is telling, Mama smarena yudhyacha. You remember me and you fight also. Remember me and fight. Result I will take care. But not that you don't fight, you sit and you think that by mercy of Krishna everything will happen. That doesn't happen. Isn't it? So we have to do our part. If the devotees are sincere that they want to control their senses and they follow the regulative principles as given by the spiritual master, and if they sincerely follow, then definitely the grace of the Lord will come, and it is by His grace, this guna pravaham, this very important word is being used, pravaha. Pravaha means it is like a vega. It is the flow. The flow of these three modes of material nature is just like the river flow, cannot be stopped very easily. Isn't it? It requires a great strength. So individual strength is not possible. We have to pray for the mercy of the Lord and execute our work, whatever is required. Tat tat karma pravartanat. Rupa Goswami says, you have to perform devotional service, and at the same time, whatever is being asked in devotional service, all those things we have to carry on. Then it is possible that mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead will come, and then we will be able to control our senses, because senses will have no scope for distraction at all. They are completely engaged. Eyes are engaged, ears are engaged, nose is engaged. All our senses will become engaged. Mind will become engaged. Savai manaha Krishna padar vindayor vachamsi vaikuntha gunanuvarnane. Everything, when it becomes completely engaged, they will have no other scope. You see? So this is very, very important. So what we need to see? We need to see whether all our senses are engaged in service of the Lord or not. Your eyes are engaged in watching some filthy material sense objects, or our eyes are busy in appreciating the beauty of the Lord. Your ears are busy for hearing some prajalpa, or your ears are busy for hearing Krishna Katha. So when you develop the desire that I want to only talk about Krishna, hear about Krishna, and anything related with Krishna only, then definitely senses will have no other engagement. And by the mercy of the Lord, we will be able to cross over the three modes of material nature. Isn't it? Mameva prapadhyante maya metam tarantite. It is only possible if we surrender completely to the Lord, that we will be able to cross over Maya, isn't it? So, there is one very interesting prayer by Mother Lakshmi, where she also recognizes this, that the Lord is very merciful to His devotees. The Lord is more merciful to His devotees, even more than His own associates sometimes. So she says, my dear Lord Achyuta, your Karambhoja, your Kar Kamala, your lotus hands, which you mercifully place on your devotee's head, is source of all benedictions. So we find the Lord becomes very pleased with his devotees, just like when he became very pleased with Prahlad, or when he became pleased with Dhruva Maharaj. The Lord very mercifully placed his lotus hand, his lotus palm on their head. So Mother Lakshmi is striving, craving for this benediction of the Lord. But one may say, no, Lakshmi is already situated on the chest of the Lord. There is insignia in the form of Shrivatsa on the chest of the Lord, right? Someone may say. But Mother Lakshmi is saying that although you bear Shrivatsa on your chest, I regard this honor as false prestige for me. So I still regard that is not something very great. Because of that I always reside on your chest, I have become falsely proud. Then she says, you show your real mercy to your devotees and not to me. Of course, you are the supreme controller and no one can understand your desires. So she is also craving for that mercy which the Lord shows on his devotees. So Prabhupada explains this from Bhagavatam, that in many places in Bhagavatam, whatever Mother Lakshmi is speaking directly is clearly given. In many places in Bhagavatam, that the Supreme Lord is more merciful to his devotees than even to his wife, Mother Lakshmi. So there is a verse Prabhupada quotes from. These verses are quoted by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Venkata Bhatta. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was discussing with Venkata Bhatta how it is that Mother Lakshmi, who is considered to be so chaste and always who is on the chest of Lord Vishnu, and there is no doubt there is no one more chaste than Mother Lakshmi, that she wants to associate with my Lord, your worshipable Lakshmi, who is most chaste. She wants to associate with my Lord Krishna, who is just a cowherd boy. So then Venkata Bhatta replies, there is no difference. There is no difference between Lord Vishnu and Lord Krishna. Only thing is that Lord Krishna's pastimes are more relishable because of his varieties of different kinds of pastimes which the Supreme Lord has. So he is saying, why are you joking with me? Why are you asking this question to me? Isn't it? So, Lord Chaitanya also replies that yes, what you are saying is correct. There is no difference. But then, why Mother Lakshmi never got entry? Why Mother Lakshmi never got entry into the rasa dance of the Supreme Lord? So then, Venkata Bhatta replies, he says, my dear Lord, I am a small living entity. I have a limited understanding, limited intelligence. These topics are as deep as ocean. I cannot understand. I cannot reach to the limits of these. You kindly explain. So then, the Lord asks another question. He says, the Vedic literature got entry. Shruti, they got entry into the confidential pastimes of rasa dance, but still Lakshmi did not get. Isn't it? So then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains what is the reason. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains, without following in the footsteps of these devotees who are in spontaneous rasa with Krishna, who are in this kind of highest spontaneous rasa with Krishna, there is no possibility to achieve this kind of mercy which they have achieved. And that is why Mother Lakshmi is also aspiring. Even though she underwent, she left Vaikuntha to take part in rasa dance of Krishna, and she underwent severe vratas and austerities. Still she could not get, because she wanted to retain her same opulence as Lakshmi and still associate with Krishna, and that is not possible. One has to have the same kind of mentality and understanding like the gopis, then only it is possible to get that kind of mercy of the Supreme Lord. So some very interesting verses are there about such great devotees like the gopis and many other such devotees where Mother Lakshmi is aspiring for that mercy of the Lord. This is one verse which appears in 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Lord Krishna is directly speaking to Uddhava, one of his very intimate devotees. These are personal words by Krishna himself. Krishna is saying, Na tatha me priyatama atma yonir na shankaraha na cha sankarshano na shrir naiv atma cha yatha bhavan. So what Krishna is saying is, na tatha. Na tatha means in the same way. And finally Krishna is telling, yatha bhavan, priyatama, most dear. Priya means dear. Priya uttama, most dear. There is no one more dear to me than you. And then the Lord is comparing, na tatha me priyatama atma yonir, neither Brahma, who is called Swayambhu, he is also not very dear to me like you. Na Shankaraha, neither Lord Shiva, na cha Sankarshano, nor Lord Sankarshana, na Shrir, neither Mother Lakshmi, naiva Atma, neither myself. See, Krishna is telling, even myself I don't consider to be more dear. Cha yatha bhavan, as much as you are dear to me. See, this is the potency of devotional service. Krishna is saying, even I don't consider myself to be more dear. Everybody actually considers himself to be more dear than other, isn't it? When there is some kind of danger, we first try to save ourselves, isn't it? But the Supreme Lord is saying, I consider my devotees to be more dear than even myself. Prabhupada translates that, my dear Uddhava, neither Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Lord Sankarshana, Goddess of Fortune, nor indeed my own self is as dear to me as you are. Then there is another verse where Shukdev Goswami is speaking about the inhabitants of Vraja, especially Mother Yashoda. You see. So there he says, Nemam virincho na bhavo na shrirapi anga samshraya prasadam lebhire gopi yat tat prapa vimuktidat. So Shukdev Goswami is saying, this exalted position, na emam, is never obtained even by many other personalities, which Mother Yashoda has obtained, that she is able to bind Lord Krishna. This is after that pastimes of the Lord, that this position is not obtained This exalted position is not obtained by many others. Virancho, Brahma, na Bhavo, Shiva, na Shrir, neither Mother Lakshmi, Api Anga Samshraya, even though she is Ardhangini. Anga Samshraya means she is better half of the Lord. Even she has not achieved this kind of mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Prasadam means mercy. Lebhire, obtained, which was obtained by Gopi Yattat Prapa. Mother Yashoda, she obtained this mercy, Vimuktida, from Lord Krishna, who is a giver of liberation from this material entanglement. So translates, neither Lord Brahma, nor Lord Shiva, nor even the goddess of fortune, who is always the better half of Supreme Lord, can obtain from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the deliverer from this material world, such mercy as received by Mother Yashoda. See? And then, finally Lord Chaitanya quotes another verse about gopis. Na ayam shriyo anga unitanta ratehe prasadaha swar yoshitam nalina gandha rucham kuto anyaha ratsots utsave asya bhujadanda grahita kantha labdha shisham ya udgad vraj sundari nam. So this is another very beautiful verse. He says same thing. Na ayam, this opportunity. What opportunity? Where the Lord is placing His lotus hands on the necks and shoulders of gopis in rasa dance. Nayam Shriyo, this opportunity was never given to Mother Lakshmi. Anga, who is always situated on the chest of the Lord. And Nitanta Ratehe, who is very intimately associated with Supreme Lord as his wife. Prasadaha, this favor was not bestowed upon even Mother Lakshmi. Swaryoshitam, this was never bestowed even to Apsaras in heavenly planets. Even though they are most beautiful, very beautiful, and their body is always carrying the smell of lotus flower. But the Lord is not attracted to even them. That is what Shukdev Goswami is saying. Swaryoshitam nalina gandha rucham. Their bodily lustre is like Kamala, and their gandha of the body is also like lotus. But still, even they could not get. Kuto anyaha, where is the possibility of others? When these people could not get, where is the possibility of others? Raso utsave asya Krishna in rasa dance, bhujadanda, his arms, grahita kantha, he embraced their neck or their shoulders. Labdha ashisham, such kind of blessing. Ya udgad vraja sundarim, it was obtained only by the gopis in Vraja. So Prabhupada translates, the gopis received benediction from the Lord that neither Lakshmi Devi nor the most beautiful dancers in the heavenly planets could attain. So it's not that Lord Krishna was doing rasa dance, so he invited the Apsaras who could do better dance. And then you please come and I will dance with you, you dance very nicely. No. Even the beautiful dancers in heavenly planet did not get this opportunity to dance with the Lord, and where the Lord is placing His hands on them. In the rasa dance, the Lord showed his favor to the most fortunate gopis by placing his arms on their shoulder and dancing with each of them individually. No one can compare with the gopis who received the causeless mercy of the Lord. So actually this is the potency of devotional service, and the devotional service which factually pleases the Lord is the devotional service practiced by Vrajavasis. Even though at present moment we are not practicing that, we are practicing sadhana bhakti. We are practicing bhakti with regulations, with adorations, with a lot of respect. Prabhupada says no one shows stick to Lord Krishna. We all don't show stick, isn't it? We cannot dare to show stick to Krishna. Mother Yashoda can show stick to Krishna because she has attained that position. By following in their footsteps, we can also attain. Not by copying them, not by imitating them. That is not possible. They've all crossed over these regulative principles of devotional service. They have gone to spontaneous bhakti. So that path can be attained by gradually following the regulative path of sadhana bhakti. So we'll stop with this Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.